a masterpiece of Khmer civilization, sold for more than $1 million. Its journey remains a forgotten history.
The second highest sale of Khmer art at auction more than 1,000 years ago. A Khmer sculptor transformed a block of sandstone into the image of a goddess. Centuries later, that same sculpture would appear in European exhibitions, private collections, and eventually one of the world's most prestigious auction houses. And in 2012, it would sell for an astonishing $1,142,500. This is the story of Uma, a remarkable 10th century Khmer sculpture. And the story behind the second highest recorded auction? Sale of a Khmer sculpture. The sculpture was one of several female figures illustrated in the 1989 Thai and Cambodian sculpture from the 6th to 14th centuries, written by Wolfgang Felten and Martin Lerner. When I first saw the photograph, I immediately recognized her. She was not simply another ancient Khmer sculpture. She was one of the top 3 highest-selling Khmer sculptures ever recorded at public auction, and remarkably, all 3 were sandstone images of the goddess Uma. All 3 were sold through Christie's in New York. At different times, the highest-selling Uma reached $2.113 million in March 2008. The third highest sold for $1.1275 million in September 2004. But our story today is about the sculpture that stands between them, the second-ranked Uma. In March 2012, this 10th century Khmer sculpture was offered at Christie's in New York. The sculpture was created in the Pre Rup artistic style, even though it was missing its head. Arms and feet, its extraordinary craftsmanship remained clearly visible. The final price? $1,142,500? That was almost 3 times the preliminary estimate, and it became the top-selling artwork of that days. But there is another side to this story, a side that goes far beyond the auction room, because when we look at an ancient Khmer sculpture today, we should ask an important question. Where did it come from? And how did it leave Cambodia? The known provenance of this Uma is limited. According to the available history, the sculpture was sold in the early 1980s to a private German collector by William H. Wolf, a prominent New York dealer in Asian art. Wolf had been active in the international art market for more than 3 decades. His name appears in the provenance of many important Asian antiquities. Among the objects connected to his business was the famous Khmer Bima, a monumental Khmer sculpture from Prasat Chen. That sculpture was later sold to the Norton Simone Museum in 1975, and eventually returned to Cambodia in 2014. Wolf's clients included some of the wealthiest and most influential collectors of the 20th century. His network extended to major museums in the United States and Europe, but his career also raises difficult questions about the antiquities trade, in a 1990 interview reported by the Los Angeles Times. Wolf openly acknowledged that some of the artworks he acquired had been exported illegally. From their countries of origin, he described networks of people who knew how to move antiquities secretly across borders. For us today, these words are difficult to hear, because behind every beautiful ancient sculpture, there may be another story, a story about a temple, a village, a country, and a cultural heritage that may have been separated from its homeland. Yet despite its complicated history, there is no denying the artistic quality of this Uma. Closely at the sandstone, the subtle folds around the neck, the delicate lines carved into the stone, the flowing garment, the calm posture. Every detail reveals the extraordinary skill of the Khmer sculptor. This was not simply a piece of stone, it was an attempt to give the divine a human presence, who was Uma. Temple reliefs of Shiva and Uma. So, who was Uma? In Hindu tradition, Uma is closely associated with Parvati, as the wife of the god Shiva. She represents many powerful qualities: fertility, strength, energy, devotion, marriage, motherhood, love, and harmony. She is, in many traditions, the Divine Mother. She is also regarded as the mother of Ganesha, the elephant-headed god, and Skanda, the youthful warrior deity. In Khmer art, images of Uma became especially important. Her graceful form, elegant clothing, and powerful spiritual symbolism made her one of the most memorable female figures in Khmer sculpture. 1989 exhibition footage, book pages. In this particular Uma had already enjoyed a remarkable international history before the 2012 auction. In 1989, she appeared in the Felten and Lerner book as a female deity. The same year, her image was also featured on the cover of the catalog for an exhibition at the Museum of East Asian Art in Cologne, Germany. She was exhibited there between April and July of 1989. At that moment, she was being appreciated primarily as a masterpiece of ancient Khmer art. But 23 years later, her story took another dramatic turn. New York, Christie's single quotes, "Is the hammer fell 114-5 million dollars?" An ancient Khmer goddess had become a multi-million-dollar international treasure. And after the sale, the sculpture disappeared into the world of private collecting. Its new owner remained anonymous, and like so many important Khmer antiquities held in private collections, it may never again be seen by the public. Today, when we look at the image of Uma, we can admire the extraordinary achievement of the Khmer sculptor who created her more than 1,000 years ago. But we should also remember the larger story. These sculptures are not simply valuable objects. They are fragments of Cambodia's history. They belong to a civilization that created Angkor, a civilization whose artists, engineers, architects, and spiritual masters transformed stone into some of the greatest monuments in Southeast Asia. The question is not only, how much is a Khmer sculpture worth? Perhaps the more important question is, how much is a piece of our history worth? Because once a masterpiece disappears into a private collection, its price may be known, but its story may become almost impossible to recover. This is the story of Uma, the second highest selling Khmer sculpture at public auction, a masterpiece of Khmer civilization, worth more than $1 million, and a reminder of the priceless heritage of Cambodia. History Challenge Cambodia, unlocking Angkor's secrets. One story at a time.
you.